On June 26, 2024, YouTuber Boogie2988 posts a video where he parodied Andrew Tate to announce his new meme coin, Fatty Coin, in which he was paid $10,000 and 2.5% of all coins minted. Now, I don't personally know enough about the whole crypto scene in order to give me real insight on the coin or the supposed scam around it. However, it was the catalyst for what we will be talking about today, and that's Boogie's fake cancer diagnosis and all of the streams around that. The story begins with Turkey Tom, a commentary YouTuber, telling the streamer Destiny about the CoffeeZilla interview with Boogie2988 about his crypto scam. At the end of the interview, Coffee tells Boogie,
I hope you get better. I hope you get better with your sickness. And
Yeah, it's cancer, man. You don't. People don't generally get better.
Why would you say that if you had cancer? It's cancer. You don't get better from it. That's so absolutely not fucking true. Depends on the type of cancer. Depends on the condition of the patient. Depends on the healthcare available to you. Depends on well, no, hold on. Third one is stupid. Depends on the type of cancer. Depends on the status of the patient, and it depends on how far the cancer has progressed. And then also other things like finances and medical whatever. But those three are the big ones. Why would you just say it's cancer? There's no hope. That's such a stupid thing to say. No shot. He's lying. He's absolutely lying.
now as you can see, Destiny really didn't like that, and this causes him to go research polycythemia vera for a couple hours, leading him to believe that Boogie may not actually be diagnosed with polycythemia vera. So Destiny gets a hold of Keemstar to see if he can come on the next episode of Locale Live in order to confront Boogie on his lies. And Keem agrees because in one of the CoffeeZilla calls, Boogie claims that Keem isn't paying him for this month. After a Scupcast intro into the show, Destiny directly confronts Boogie, which he obviously denies and states that he has polycythemia vera, not secondary.
Boogie2488, you are being confronted tonight.
Go
I
ahead.
am 99% sure that you are faking.
No, don't move.
You are faking your cancer diagnosis, Boogie.
Okay, let's hear that.
Let's hear that.
Did the doctor ever tell you, or did he ever say the word cancer?
He said polycythemia vera, which is a form of cancer, as he explained it to me. And no, it is not secondary polycythemia, which is Nicholas Diorio's explanation for this bullshit.
Which Destiny counters with that he thinks it's just secondary polycythemia. He then proceeds to ask if it's secondary, why would his doctor order a bone marrow biopsy in order to confirm the diagnosis? And Destiny replies saying that it'd be really weird that he's only now getting a bone marrow biopsy done after 2 years of running around saying he's been diagnosed with this cancer. Boogie then goes on to explain that while the doctors tell him that he has this cancer and there's markers in his blood that confirm it, he still wants to get the biopsy done, even though it's extremely painful, expensive, and as his doctors say, unnecessary, since he will be getting treated for the cancer anyways. When Boogie is asked about how the cancer is being treated, he replies with blood tests, blood thinners, and bloodletting, since his body is producing far too much blood. Destiny correctly points out that none of those are specifically cancer treatments and goes on to explain the difference between polycythemia vera and secondary polycythemia.
So I think that Boogie was told that he has polycythemia, which means he has an elevation of his red blood cells. Now, there is a cancer known as polycythemia vera, which is caused by a mutation in some part of your body that causes an elevation of 3 different levels of things you'll find. One of those is the red blood cell count.
Destiny then goes on to explain that secondary polycythemia could be caused by things like taking hormones and sleep apnea, which Boogie does have sleep apnea as he has to sleep with a CPAP machine, and we know for a fact he was taking testosterone supplements that he was warned could cause secondary polycythemia. Destiny also goes on to ask Boogie why they'd be treating a cancer that they haven't confirmed with the biopsy for 2 years. And Boogie goes on to explain that it's because he has the markers in his blood for polycythemia vera, and polycythemia vera is treated the same way that secondary polycythemia is, since you can't directly attack the cancer within the bone marrow. Wings of Redemption, one of Boogie's co-host proceeds to mention that when he goes to the doctor, he tends to get sent home with paperwork saying what he's being treated for. And Destiny brings up that he won't believe Boogie until he sees some paperwork with polycythemia vera written on it. This sets Boogie off, saying,
I'm never
Yeah,
showing
but
any of these motherfuckers my medical papers. Go fuck yourself. I said that 2 years ago, and I'm staying by it now. Destiny, Jackson Clark, Keemstar, you can see it when I fucking die. It's my fucking
Is it right
goddamn
there?
medical record.
Like
I've
you
given
see
you
this
every
all-
goddamn phone call.
Please.
I've given you every fucking text. I've given you. It's never made a single goddamn thing better. I'm not gonna fucking do it. Go fuck yourselves.
You could
Go
easily
fuck
end
yourselves.
this right
I would
now
rather,
by just
I would
showing
rather
the
you
diagnosis.
motherfuckers. I would rather you motherfuckers continue to LARP.
Destiny brings back up that if the blood markers are present in Boogie's blood, then why is he just now getting the biopsy after 2 years of being treated for this cancer? Boogie's only response is to say that it's because he wants to make sure he has it even after his doctors have already diagnosed him, but he won't show that he has the diagnosis because he wants to keep his privacy to himself. Destiny goes on to say that he believes that everyone has the right to keep their medical records private, but Boogie shouldn't be able to go around for 2 years talking about fighting cancer on the internet for sympathy and money without proving he had said cancer. Keemstar tells Boogie that this is one of the most fucked up things you could lie about, and that is the biggest scandal on the internet right now. Boogie just tells him to go on and fuck it, run the story.
He needed to scam his fans.
I just
but-
wanted. I wanted to join real quick because you just got caught lying to about me
Sure,
to
go ahead.
All
There's a
right.
lot of-
And
No, I
now,
didn't.
now
I
you're
told
being
Coffee
confronted.
exactly that. I
And
told
now
Coffee
you're being
exactly what I told
confronted
him.
on one of the biggest lies on internet history.
I don't consider
Sure,
him
go ahead.
guilty.
And you won't
I consider
prove it?
him the face of
No.
this game.
You won't
No,
prove it.
I'd rather
If-
you go ahead and print it.
If
Print
this
it.
is true,
Go ahead,
if
print
this
it.
is true, and you lied
Go
about
ahead, print
cancer,
it.
this is the biggest scandal on the fucking
And
internet.
it's
you're getting-
not,
you're
but
getting
go ahead
in
and
your
print it
feelings.
anyway. Go ahead and
Prove
print it
it.
anyway.
It's going.
I'm
Yeah.
proving
Prove
to
it.
none of you motherfuckers.
going.
I
Fucking
said this
prove
2
it.
years ago, and I'm not doing it today.
And that's about how the rest of the stream goes. Someone joins the call, asks if he'll show the diagnosis, and Boogie just keeps repeating that they'll never see it. At some point, people start offering Boogie thousands of dollars to show his diagnosis that eventually reaches upwards of $80,000 in a trip to Disneyland.
If Boogie can confirm, if Boogie can confirm that he has polycythemia vera, and he actually has like a doctor confirmation of the blood cancer, I'll throw $5,000 towards his medical treatment. I'll make that personal pledge right now.
If you can provide those papers, I will personally fly you out to Florida.
Sure.
Pay for your hotel, or you can stay in my home, and I will take you to Disney.
It's up to 15,000 total. He would
15
get.
grand? Fucking
Yep.
do it!
No.
Some ordinary gamers will also put $10,000 towards it.
Jesus.
We got Keem.
Some ordinary gamers is offering $50,000.
Make it 200. Make it $1 million.
Oh,
Fuck
you know,
you,
no,
no.
Turkey Tom said it's 65.
Oh,
right
yeah,
now.
50
More
and then
people have
15
thrown in.
from Keem. Yeah, something 65.
Muda says he'll write an escrow right now if Boogie comes back and he'll up it to 60K.
What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? I offered $5,000, by the way. I'm increasing the pot. Okay, so whatever it is right now, bump it up another 5.
And Boogie refuses every time, saying that if he was going to show his diagnosis, he would have just shown it to Jackson Clark 2 years ago. Tommy C asks if Boogie thinks there's a moral obligation to put this to rest since he went to the public with it, and Boogie continues to just deflect away from answering a single question, saying he'd rather burn in hell, and then goes on to change his answer to if he does have a moral obligation to, he's going to ignore it to protect his privacy. Boogie then goes on to claim that he always knew the day would come where he would have to prove his cancer or leave the internet, and that he has chosen to leave. But doesn't that sound kind of odd? Like, if you knew that going online and saying you have cancer will cause people to ask for the diagnosis, and you don't want to share the diagnosis and keep that private, then why would you go share that you have cancer with the public? Maybe he just thought nobody would ask, or maybe Keemstar had the right idea. You see, Keem had this theory that Boogie's doctor said he has polycythemia, and Boogie looked it up and saw that it's linked to cancer and rushed to make the video. Boogie denies those claims and states that he has cancer, but he won't show the diagnosis. Mudahar from the YouTube channel Some Ordinary Gamers gets added into the call and immediately brings up how Mr. Mediker showed his diagnosis on stream when he was asked to prove his cancer, and tries to ask Boogie why he won't show his. Boogie counters with, "Good for Mediker, I have no interest in giving away the last of my privacy."
No, I'm saying you, Muda.
You know, but
You actually wanna talk to real fucking fine.
Medicare showed his actual diagnosis when he was questioned on it.
Good for Medicare. Go
So
ahead.
why can't you just like censor out a name or personal information and just show us the diagnosis? I don't understand.
I have no interest in finally giving it the last shred of dignity I have left in the world.
The crypto coin is then brought back into the conversation by bringing up that Boogie used the cancer as a reason for running the crypto scam, and Boogie claims that none of his fans bought it as an excuse. Once Muda is removed from the call, Destiny FOMO gets brought in to offer the previously mentioned Disney trip if he would show the diagnosis. And Boogie goes on to negotiate for the cash price of the trip and then declines the offer. After Destiny FOMO leaves the call and they're in intermission, Boogie tells Keem that he couldn't find the diagnosis page in his patient portal, but he could find polycythemia vera in some of his treatment plans, and that he still won't show it and would rather leave the internet. Keem then goes on to offer another $5,000 if Boogie would just show him the diagnosis, and he obviously continues to decline. They then decide to bring Medicare into the call, and right before they can bring him in, Boogie claims that he found the diagnosis page and reads off the same list from the Mike Klum documentary with polycythemia vera clumsily added in. Once Medicare was added to the call, everyone runs him through everything that's been going on, and Medicare asks why Boogie just won't show the diagnosis. Medicare then goes on to explain that he had to prove his cancer before, and that's an incredibly easy thing to do, and that he is genuinely confused as to why Boogie won't show it. Boogie deflects by saying that he's been treating cancer for 2 years that he apparently doesn't have, and claims, "These people used to be my friends."
He doesn't have cancer.
Yeah, that's going to be the narrative they'll go with. So that's the
Well,
one.
no, I mean, I'm legit trying to give you the benefit of the doubt. When I shit on you for the crypto thing, man, I said I'd take your word that you had cancer. I'd take your word that the medical shit's expensive.
Yep.
So I mean, I this seems like the
I
easiest thing
spent 2 years treating a disease that doesn't exist. These people used to be my friends, and I genuinely would have never believed it would even come to this. And I'm just rather be done, man. I'm good. I'm good.
You're playing this like some kind of backstab.
But Boogie, hear me out. Friends don't let friends fake a cancer diagnosis. That's one of the worst things you could ever lie about and grift off of. Come on, man. Boogie would go on to claim that he'll have the diagnosis tweeted when he's dead, but that makes literally zero sense, given if he just showed it now, everyone would just shut up, apologize, and pay out what they promised they would. Medicare asks if there's a third party who doesn't live with Boogie that he would be willing to send the diagnosis to, and Boogie shoots it down, saying that he will even call Desi into the room to confirm that she saw the diagnosis. When Medicare talks about what diagnosing his cancer was like, Boogie claims that he had the Animal Crossing of cancer.
I'm sorry, but did you
very
say
different
starter? Did you say starter kit? Like you haven't started having cancer?
No, it's like it's like the tutorial version of cancer.
What he's
Does
saying
that make sense? It's the easy one. If you're gonna get one, this is the one you want to get.
You can live forever on this thing. It rarely kills people.
It's not the Dark Souls of cancer. That's
No,
right.
yeah,
So
yeah,
this
yeah,
would be.
It's the Animal Crossing of cancer. You have the Dark Souls of cancer. Yeah.
No, I'm not even close.
Medicare goes on to ask why he won't show the diagnosis again, and Boogie says that if he shows the patient portal, that won't be enough anymore, and that they want his full medical records, and he'd rather just leave the internet than deal with it. Medicare is left confused as to how he would rather just leave the internet instead of proving everyone wrong and taking an easy W. Keem points out that even if Boogie sends the screenshot, nobody would believe that it wasn't faked with how long he's taken to provide it. Wings brings up that he's shown his surgeries on stream and doesn't understand why Boogie can't show a single diagnosis. Boogie would then go on to claim that he's no longer going to get the bone marrow biopsy, and everyone should take this as a lesson that if you're going to talk about your diseases online, then you better be ready to prove it. I don't know about you, but personally, I think that if you're going to grift off of your cancer, yes, you should at the very least have to show your diagnosis. The boxing match between Boogie and Wings gets brought up, and more importantly, the fact that Boogie passed his medical exam for it. Keem says he's gonna go get the paperwork for the fight and leaves the room for a few minutes, then comes back saying he's got bad news for Boogie, trying to bait him into admitting that he doesn't have cancer, but unfortunately it doesn't work.
That was kind of a kill shot there, Wings. That was a subtle fucking kill shot.
It's so bad that even Keemstar left. He's
he's running to get records.
I'm here.
This motherfucker, he's hauling ass downstairs right now. Here's a little gnome feet pitter pattering down the fucking banister.
Yeah.
Well, I've been to his house. He's already downstairs.
It's already down there. He's jumping in a go-kart, going into the office.
I got some bad news for you, Boogie.
Yes, sir.
I just looked at the paperwork.
Yes, sir.
I didn't look at it. I did too. Damn it. I wanted to see him sweat, but he said yes, sir. So
there's no sweating.
Medker says that he understands why Boogie would want to leave the show and everything, but he can't understand why Boogie suddenly doesn't want the biopsy to confirm the cancer. Boogie replies that it's because it's unnecessary and he no longer wishes to get it done and that everything will soon be clear. Keem starts yelling that Boogie is lying about his cancer and that he just needs to come clean. Keem even says that he won't fire Boogie if he just comes clean, to which Boogie replies saying that as far as he knows, he has polycythemia vera and is being treated for it, and goes on to say that no matter what happens, he won't be on the show anymore. But as you can probably tell by the remaining time in this video, that clearly wasn't true. To try and make himself look like a bad guy and garner sympathy at the same time, Boogie tells a story of his first girlfriend and how she used to hit him, so he held her against a wall. And Boogie claims that he's held guilt for that ever since, and that if the internet knew, people would just assume that he beats women. Everyone points out that the story doesn't really matter and that he's just trying to distract everyone from faking his cancer.
Hey, since it's over, would you like to know a secret about me that nobody else knows?
Sure.
My very first girlfriend. I think I've told one of these guys this in private. I'm not entirely certain. My very first girlfriend was physically abusive to me. And so as part of my childhood, when we were 16, 17 years old, because she would hit me and stuff, I ended up holding her down. I ended up pinning her against the wall to make her stop hurting me and hurting herself. And I've carried tremendous guilt about it for my entire life. And I know as soon as I ever said that, it would mean that people would think I beat women. And so I've held it in.
I literally don't care. Nobody cares about that right
now. Thank you, Boogie, for sharing that. I've completely forgotten that you faked cancer.
Medker brings up that if Boogie is going to leave the internet and the show, he'll lose all forms of income and will end up homeless. Boogie claims that he has a plan, but refuses to elaborate on it at all. Keem jumps back in saying that he doesn't understand how Boogie makes Keem feel bad for how pathetic he is, and that all Boogie does is manipulate people into feeling bad for him. Boogie says that he doesn't care about everyone feeling bad for him, but he is going to keep one goddamn thing to himself, and that one thing is his cancer diagnosis that he's been grifting off of for 2 years. He then goes on to say that he'd sell his dignity, but not his medical records, causing Medker to bring up that Boogie is okay with being naked on camera, but won't prove he has cancer, to which Boogie yells that he'll get naked and doesn't care while taking off his clothes. Desi, Boogie's girlfriend, is brought in and she's told Boogie is refusing to show his diagnosis for, at the moment, $50,000. And her response is just that it's his choice and she has to stand by him. Boogie then claims to have the diagnosis screenshotted and shows Desi, then says he's not going to send it to Keem. Keem asks if Boogie thinks he'd leak it, and Boogie's only response is to start shouting "fuck you" at him. At this point, Boogie has now brought up Jackson Clark enough for Keem to ask how much Boogie is getting paid to promote him, and Boogie just replies with "it's good for Penguin Zero" and starts repeating Jackson Clark and Penguin Zero, then promotes Fatty Coin.
What's the reasoning behind that? Why are you letting him have the win?
Because as I said to Jackson Clark 2 years ago, or at least said about
Jackson
it.
Clark. God damn.
Yeah,
God.
I am not sharing my medical records. I'm not sharing this with the internet. This is for me. I'm good.
How much money did Jackson Clark get you to fucking say his name?
There is
Yeah, I
no-
know, right?
On the stream.
I don't know.
Great
Yeah,
advertising, yeah.
I mean, it's good. It's good
Jackson
for
Clark.
Penguin Zero. Penguin Zero. Jackson Clark. Penguin Zero. Jackson Clark. Check it out. Buy Fattycoin. There.
I don't know if the coin's going to be doing too well after today.
Keem then leaves announcing that they got the greatest news ever, that Boogie is free of cancer. After Keem leaves the call, Boogie acts like they're off camera to say that showing the diagnosis wouldn't help at all anyways, to which Medicare tells him that it'd shut up every detractor and he'd make all the money that's been offered. Boogie tries to compare his situation to Wings being called a PDF file, and is immediately shot down, getting told that he can just show the diagnosis, whereas Wings can't show a doctor's notes saying he doesn't like kids. Boogie continues to repeat himself, saying that nobody will believe the diagnosis if he showed it, and that there's no reasoning with unreasonable people. And everyone tells him to just shut up and take the money, and that the unreasonable people are a small fraction of the people out there. Wings also gets the best comeback in of the stream.
Right? There's no reasoning with unreasonable people. There's no reasoning with unreasonable
We understand that. We've been doing this for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for finally seeing it my way. Thank you.
You're being unreasonable.
Leaving Boogie to ask what's unreasonable and causing Medicare to point out it's unreasonable to give up your career and house instead of just showing a cancer diagnosis. Boogie says he's been looking for an exit plan for a while and he might as well drop a grenade in the room on his way out. Medicare points out that what Boogie is doing is essentially dropping a grenade in his own pants, and Boogie tries to deflect, saying everyone won't move on from it, just like them calling Desi a child despite her being 21. And Wings points out that it's just griefing and trolling. Medicare points out that Boogie's exit plan is to make sure he looks like a liar, loses all revenue streams, and looks like a piece of shit who fakes cancer. And Boogie says he's going to lose much more than that, and asks how he could ever possibly come back. Medicare tries to get Boogie to say he's definitely not coming back because he's been saying he's leaving the internet, and Boogie replies with, well, I try not to speak in definitives, so clearly this is all a ploy for him to garner sympathy and attention. Commentary YouTuber Nicholas Diorio joins the call, and Boogie immediately asks him if he had messaged him the night before, asking if he has polycythemia vera. And Nick replies by asking if Boogie said that had Destiny hit him up the night before, he would have just shown his diagnosis. Boogie replies with, "You're not Destiny," but after a little bit of pressure, he admits that he wouldn't have shown the diagnosis to Destiny at all and would stand on his principles. Nick asks what principle he has given he just scammed his audience for $10,000, and Boogie replies, "Yeah, but that's different from tweeting my medical records," and proceeds to leave the call. It seems everyone missed it on stream, but did he just admit Fattycoin was a scam and not a true project? I mean, yeah, it could have been a slip of the tongue, but we can't be sure either way. But in the past, Boogie has said that there are no good crypto meme coins, then proceeded to make his own, so maybe he could have been more aware than he let on. Boogie then leaves the stream, and the rest of it is just everyone going over the whole situation and discussing their thoughts, and there's not really much more pertinent information. So we're just going to move on to the next stream. The next stream going over the Boogie situation opens with a banger of an AI Country song about Boogie faking his cancer diagnosis.
Said King didn't pay him, said he was going broke. Was offered $70K to show his medical records and Boogie choked. Boogie, Boogie, why you lying to yourself? Oh, Boogie, 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 you can go to hell. Just come clean and be honest. We won't ever judge, but if you keep on lying, we'll pull the plug. You fat motherfucker, just tell the truth.
Before bringing everyone into the stream, Keem announces that he's gotten Boogie to agree to coming on the show. After getting Tommy and Wings onto the show, Boogie texts Keem saying he refuses to join the stream. Wings and Keem both claim Boogie got a hold of them to say they stabbed him in the back for not taking his side in the last stream, when both of them tried to defend Boogie until Boogie made it impossible for them to do so. Boogie claims he didn't tell Keem that he's coming on and that he'd think about it and doesn't want to. Keem says that if Boogie doesn't show up, he's just going to fire Boogie. He then asks if he can plead his case or if Keem's going to have more surprise guests on the show, and that the only way he'll come on is if he can talk. Keem agrees and brings up Destiny being under fire right now to get Boogie on the show. Once Boogie gets into the call and on the show, he brings up the Destiny situation with the Trump shooting, which we are not going to be talking about today. But Boogie does immediately follow it up with Destiny isn't a doctor and my brother is, and he says I have cancer. Boogie then goes on to claim that his doctor said he probably has cancer and that it's not confirmed until he gets the biopsy, causing Keem and Tommy to point out that in the last stream he was saying he 100% has cancer, not that he probably has cancer.
I'm not making this shit up. And when my doctor tells me it's probably cancer, I believe my fucking doctor. Now, there's one mistake I no, hold on.
Stop. Probably.
It's not good.
Probably cancer. Probably.
The only thing I have not done to confirm it, and I said this last time, is I have not done the bone marrow test for 2 reasons. It's expensive, extremely painful, and extremely invasive. And I don't want to get it fucking done.
Well, the problem is you told people you did say you had cancer. You didn't say the doctor said you probably had cancer.
No, he
That's
did
another
say
problem.
he does say I have cancer. I'm saying probably because of the goddamn narrative, but he told me I definitely do.
And right after that, Boogie claims that he's going to get the biopsy to prove he has cancer to Destiny, but won't show the diagnosis or results of the biopsy, just pictures of the biopsy itself. Boogie also states that he doesn't believe that Mudahar or anyone would pay the money they offered. Even after Wings explains all of those people live and die by their reputation, so they would have to pay. Boogie then tries to deflect from the conversation by talking about Destiny and sending a Twitter video to Keem of kids dying in Palestine while Destiny is talking over it. Keem has to tell Boogie not to send him videos of kids dying on stream because obviously you can't show that on YouTube. Boogie's deflecting gets so bad that chat calls him out on it and he says the only conversation to be had is that he didn't fake cancer. Desi knows it, his brother knows it, and he just has one test to 100% confirm it. But if it's not confirmed, then you can't say you're diagnosed, which is the entire issue here, Boogie. You've been telling everyone that you have cancer for 2 years without a proper diagnosis. Keem claims that he has a plan that could work, where all the money that was offered gets put into a trust and Boogie gets tested. If the tests come back positive, he gets the money, and if it comes back negative, all the money gets refunded. Boogie initially shoots it down by saying that it'd look really bad if he suddenly didn't have cancer. Keem asks how that could happen, and Boogie explains that he's worried that he has the markers for cancer in his blood and that they thought it was polycythemia vera, but it turns out to be a different kind of cancer when they do the bone marrow biopsy, so they're doing a colonoscopy first to see if he has colon cancer. Keem goes on to ask if Boogie would be willing to send the diagnosis at 15,000 viewers to just him, and Boogie agrees to send something from his patient portal that backs up him having cancer. Keep in mind that he never said the diagnosis itself. That's gonna be important. Keem then gets Muda into the call and asks if the new plan would work, and Muda shoots it down, saying,
So we got Boogie to agree to put the money in an escrow or a trust account, right? He gets the test. If he has the cancer, okay, then he gets to keep
No. But see, we're like changing the entire game at that point. It was like show it at that moment instead of some fucking, that's why like everyone is putting on money. It's like show us the fucking diagnosis, show us you actually have this cancer that you said 1.5 years ago that you were literally diagnosed for, and now we're playing these fucking games where you gotta get a camera shoved up your ass to check for colonoscopies or like a bunch of other biopsies. Like what the fuck is this?
GameStar's idea to do the.
So
I know I'll never.
So wait,
I know. I just don't understand.
Muta, is the money off the table now? Is it gone? Is the offer no
Honestly,
longer good?
for me, the whole terms have changed. Like, I'm paying for this guy to like now confirm that he has this cancer that he said he had 1.5 years ago.
But that's what you were doing to begin with.
That wasn't what I was doing to begin with. What I was doing to begin with was that at that time show us the actual diagnosis, and he didn't. He didn't do it for
So
decades.
like the offer was only good if he did it at that moment.
Yeah, literally. That's why we all did it. That's why do you think I put up 50-60 if he was so confident?
When Tommy asks if there's anything that could be done to get the money put back on the table, Muda says to go back in time and get Boogie to show the diagnosis. Boogie then brings up how he's never shown his roommate, yelling that he has sacred cows in his life that he wouldn't show for money or internet clout. Muda counters, saying that if the medical records are sacred cows, why did Boogie come out to talk about it the day he was told, which is a really fair point. Boogie says he wishes he didn't come out and talk about it and that he's in constant pain and has to take a bucket of pills every day trying to pull sympathy out of everyone. Muda tries to ask if Boogie feels like he should prove his cancer to the audience, and Boogie says no, claiming he's never asked for money using it, but, you know, he just blamed his crypto scam on him having cancer like a week prior. Boogie then tries to guilt everyone by saying,
all right, you guys all got it. You're in there. Here it is right here. He accidentally showed it on stream. Okay.
I do have the unique position to go down in history for faking cancer while also eventually probably dying from that cancer. So that's neat. I'm pretty happy about that one.
I'll still, yeah, that's pretty funny though, Augment.
It is.
Which is wild, and if he does have the cancer, which he very well might, is completely true. But, you know, maybe he shouldn't lied about having the diagnosis for 2 years. While Muda and Boogie are arguing about the diagnosis, Ween sends Keem his wife's cancer diagnosis to demonstrate how easy it is to show the diagnosis and that it makes no sense for Boogie to keep hiding it unless he doesn't have it. They hit the 15,000 viewers, and Boogie says he'll send Keem a blood test that shows an elevation in red blood cells, but that proves nothing because the test just shows that he has some form of polycythemia and not specifically Vera. Keem goes on to ask if Boogie has something else in his records that he doesn't want to show, like an STD, and Boogie denies that but brings up that he heard Frank Castle has herpes but has no proof of it. Why does it even matter? It has nothing to do with what's going on other than to divert the conversation away and remind everyone that Boogie hates Frank Castle. Wings brings the conversation back, saying that he could block out the rest of the screen and just show the polycythemia Vera, and Boogie refuses to, saying he's ready to go down with the ship. Boogie then states that once he is dead, his medical records will be released, and Tommy just replies with,
My medical records will be released. The day after I die, me and my brother have spoken about that. The day after I pass, I want you motherfuckers to know how wrong you were. So the day after I pass, my medical records from my brother in his
Tommy's
fucking
most definitely going to die before.
I will literally do a stream laughing at you if you die, turning down 80 grand, laughing at you, and so will most of the internet. No one will feel bad. I hate to ruin it for you. Nobody's gonna think it's anything but funny. What do you think, Boogie? You think you'd watch down from heaven and it's like, oh, we were so wrong. He really did have cancer. How did we not know?
Put the 80,000 in the trust and let's go from there.
Boogie goes on to change his previous decision that he's leaving the internet to now, fuck it, I'm staying and will be here for the show. The blood test is finally sent. It has nothing to do with polycythemia vera, but does say that his red blood cell count is high and that the doctor wants to mess with Boogie's CPAP machine to see if it fixes it, which only confirms the sleep apnea and possibly polycythemia secondary, but not vera. Boogie then claims it's pointless to send the diagnosis because nobody would believe it now and continues to reiterate that everyone will see the truth when he dies. Boogie claims that his final response will be that he's been treated for the cancer for 2 years, that his doctors told him he has this cancer, he should have got the test done sooner, and now they're worried it's a different kind of cancer, so they're trying to figure out what it is, and when he does get a proper diagnosis, he hopes he'll get the money. That one pisses off Mudahar, who starts saying that Boogie is moving goalposts and the money is permanently taken off the table because he can't prove the cancer that he's been talking about for the last 2 years.
If I have it, I'm not going to fight it. I will try to get the money from
prostate cancer
Mudahar.
just kills you.
I will
You
try
ain't
to
got-
get money from Mudahar.
Even Mudahar don't got Steve Jobs money because Steve
No.
Jobs had prostate cancer and he died from it.
No, but I will try to get the money from Destiny and everybody else if it turns out to be prostate cancer from this.
I
fellow
feel I can't help
Dude,
to
it's
always.
like the biggest like goal post shift that I've ever seen. Like you said a year and a half ago, you had polycythemia vera diagnosed
doctor
or whatever.
said that.
You
Vera,
cannot
Vera,
show
not
that you
Vera,
yeah,
Vera.
whatever Vera. You had polycythemia vera diagnosed. You are not able to show a diagnosis at
Look,
all
I
because
know.
you want
Yes,
to protect
I
your health
understand. I'll
record.
never get
Why
the money. I
fuck
did.
would
I said I'll
anybody
still try.
want to believe you? You're switching up the goalposts. Now you're like, oh well,
I
put it in a trust, and now I'm going to go get tested.
I
What if I
understand.
had another form of fucking cancer?
Boogie starts claiming everyone wants to see his full medical records and that they'll never see them, and Mudahar points out that he just had to show the polycythemia vera, and Boogie goes back to saying that Muda would have never paid had he have shown it. Colossal's Crazy pops into the chat to ask why the list of diagnoses that Boogie read on the last stream was the same as in the Mike Klum doc, with the exception that polycythemia vera was added. Boogie responds that he wanted to keep it out of the documentary because he regretted talking about it, but he was fine with the rest of his diagnoses being made public. Boogie explains that after he was told he has the cancer, he had a gut reaction to make the video about it and regrets it now. He also claims that it was demonetized and had a link for St. Jude's in the description. Kim cuts everyone off, saying it's only $500 to get a bone marrow biopsy done. Boogie says he wants to do the other tests first. Wing said the show could pay for it, and the sheer panic from Tommy saying no fucking kills me.
Do it. Let's schedule it.
Well, we're going to do the other ones first. We're going to look for the
I don't know
colonoscopy.
why anybody would spend a dime on this at this point. It's so obvious.
I'm over here about it. I'm over here about to suggest that the Local Live will pay for this fucking bone marrow test.
No,
No, I don't want that.
no. Enough of
I
that
don't want
fucking
that.
shit.
I will.
Oh no, I just think it's funny, but back to the shit. Muda points out that the video is monetized and there's an ad running on the video with no donation link in the description. So Boogie looks up his creator dashboard and says that the video is demonetized, so YouTube is making the ad revenue for that video, and he's made $0 on the video. Muda asks to see the creator dashboard and sees the video made $120, but that was more likely YouTube premium subscriptions since they pay for the view and not the ads being ran on it. Boogie brings up that he's considering starting a GoFundMe since they verified the diagnosis, and when asked why he won't, he replies with, "Because I don't want to share my medical records with any living person." Right after that, a chatter named Honey Badger, who claims to be a doctor, says they want onto the show to talk to Boogie about his cancer. And he'll make it on in a bit, but it's just going to take a little while. On another note, it gets brought up that when people questioned his girlfriend's age, he proceeded to send her ID to everyone who asked for it, but is still unwilling to prove his cancer. His only response is that she doesn't care about it being sent out, but he very much cares about his diagnosis being sent out, is going to continue refusing to provide the proof of his cancer. Boogie claims that there's been a house meeting about his cancer, and everyone in his house and all of his IRL friends are telling him to stand on his principles and keep the diagnosis to himself because it's too late and he's too far into it now. Nobody on the show thinks that's a good idea, but they move on, and Keem asks if Boogie is going to be coming back to YouTube, and Boogie claims he's more of a podcaster now, but will probably post videos here and there, but he will always be in the show. Keem says that Boogie needs a punishment since Lolcow will never get another sponsor because one of their hosts faked cancer, and Boogie responds with, "How about having cancer? That sounds like punishment enough." Again, Boogie, we won't be in the situation if you would just prove it, but you refusing to really makes it out like there is no diagnosis to show, and that's what everyone has to run with unless you prove otherwise. Boogie claims that he has 3 doctors who all diagnosed him with polycythemia vera, and yet he still can't show even one of the diagnoses.
Did you ever get like a second diagnosis or anything? Like, bro,
Yes, I have 3 different doctors. They've all said the same thing. They've all looked at the charts. They've all done their own blood work. I have 3 separate doctors, man.
So they've all basically all 3 of them have diagnosed you with polycythemia vera.
Yes, and they treated me for it. The 2 doctors are family doctors I've known for 12 years, or maybe longer. I'm not entirely certain. And the third one is brand new because of the diagnosis.
So you've got like,
It's
so
amazing.
you don't have
None of them put it on the
you don't
portal.
You don't have just one Okay, we were just asked for one diagnosis. This dude's got like 3 diagnoses.
King brings up that if any other YouTuber was accused of faking cancer, Boogie would absolutely be making a video calling them a piece of shit. Boogie quickly says that he never asked for Total Biscuit's cancer diagnosis, but his cancer was never in question, so it's completely irrelevant. Boogie then proceeds to say that the only time he will talk about the cancer from this point on is to confirm that he has polycythemia vera if he gets a different cancer diagnosis or he is told he's cancer free. But that completely contradicts his previous points where he said he would never show the diagnosis under any circumstance. Keem goes on to tell Boogie that he has to know that showing the diagnosis is the right thing to do morally, and Boogie says that if it is the right thing to do, then he's going to ignore that and keep his last shred of privacy to himself and do the wrong thing. Honey Badgers finally joins the call and says he's willing to send Keem his credentials, and Keem says it's not necessary at the moment. Honey Badgers goes on to ask Boogie about the hormones found in his blood and the levels they were found at. Boogie says they are present and in enough of an amount that his doctor thinks it could be another type of cancer. Keem asks if Boogie is willing to show his diagnosis to Honey Badgers, who is a medical professional, and Boogie shoots it down with Honey Badgers saying he understands since Boogie doesn't have his credentials. Keem goes on to point out that Boogie says he doesn't use the cancer as something to gain money from, but Boogie just used it to justify the crypto scam. Boogie claims that he didn't use the cancer to sell Fatty Coin, and Keem tells him he knows that's not what he meant because Boogie had just told CoffeeZilla that he couldn't pay back the scam because he has medical debts to pay for his cancer treatment. Keem tries to tell Boogie that the money from the crypto coin is bad money, and Boogie immediately counters by saying that he thinks it was funny.
We discussed promoting a coin. We then promoted the coin, and then I got
your
paid.
justification
And then when
for
Frosty
keeping the
asked me
bad
why I
money,
did it,
the justification for keeping the bad money was because you had cancer.
and that's why I did, and that's why I'll continue to keep it until the fucking doctors
that
get
makes
it.
you a hypocrite. That's my point. You understand
I don't
what I'm
agree.
saying.
I don't agree that it's bad money. I don't. I think it was fucking funny.
Muda then asks if Boogie understands that by not showing his diagnosis, he's putting Keem, Wings, and Tommy in a really hard spot because now their co-host looks like he's faking cancer and they're keeping him around. Boogie claims that since they've asked him to prove his cancer and been critical of the diagnosis, he's not fucking them over or anything. Keem tells Boogie that his manager told him that he needs to drop Boogie because he's making Keem look really bad right now, and Keem shot it down saying that there's no way Boogie is actually faking cancer and that he'd get Boogie to show his diagnosis. But Boogie replies with, "We could do 100 more streams and I'd never show it." Desi gets brought on the stream and they ask her why Boogie won't show his diagnosis, and she defends him saying that he has no privacy and this is the one thing he still has and wants to keep to himself. Wings asks her what the doctors talk about in regards to the polycythemia vera, and she says that she doesn't have a very good memory, but they do refer to it as a cancer. Honey Badgers asks if they ever talk about alternative therapy options, and she says that she can't remember any specifics. Keem tries to explain he wasn't trying to set Boogie up, and he thought Boogie would just prove his cancer instead of hitting this sacred cow shit, and all Desi can say is that she can't fight with Boogie, and she just needs to stand by him. Boogie returns to the stream with his brother Brian on the phone for everybody to question, and Wings asks why he thinks Boogie is being so secretive about his diagnosis. Brian replies that the information could be used to locate and discriminate against Boogie on top of being a HIPAA violation. Wings clarified that he meant specifically Boogie not wanting to share the diagnosis. Brian says that Boogie probably doesn't want to share it because he's already had a stalker and been harassed, so he doesn't want to make that any easier for anyone. Muda asks why Boogie won't just redact the sensitive information and show only the diagnosis, and Boogie only replies with, "Fuck you, I'm not going to share my medical records." Honey Badgers asks about the diagnosis codes on Boogie's charts, and Brian says he saw the diagnosis for polycythemia vera as well as the codes signifying it. Honey Badgers leaves the call, and Keem asks why Boogie won't show the diagnosis again, and Boogie says, because there's one goddamn thing I won't do for clout, and this is it. Keem asks what's going to happen if he has to fire Boogie, and Boogie says they can have that conversation when they get there, and that he has already lost everything and has cancer along with not being able to make videos anymore without being told he fakes cancer. And I mean, hear me out. have you considered just, showing the diagnosis or admitting you lied about having an official diagnosis? It would really clear things up. Keem says he wants to fire Boogie just because of how stupid the entire situation is and that he wouldn't fire him because he faked cancer, but that if he doesn't confirm it either way, he will, and Boogie mildly freaks out.
I almost want to fire you. I almost want to fire you because this is so stupid.
Well, please don't.
But
Well,
you
I-
have
I don't
no.
know, but I mean, if you're lying about your cancer and you're not willing to debunk it, these guys
I'm
look
not.
terrible.
Yes, I
Here's the
understand.
thing. Here's the thing.
I
I would not fire you if you lied about your cancer. I wouldn't. You're a fuck up. Everyone knows this. But
Right.
I might fire you if you don't prove you do have cancer or you
Okay,
don't.
then I'll lie and say I'm lying. Okay, does it make you feel better? I'm lying.
just saying,
I made it
it's
all
one
up. I
of
made
those,
it all up. One day I woke up and I convinced I sent my brother fake medical codes, and I got doctors to sit here and fucking lie to my girlfriend. I've done all of that with my magic manipulation machine.
Muda brings up that's really fucked up for Boogie to not show the evidence since it fucks over his two friends in the call, and Boogie disagrees, saying that they've been calling him out from the very beginning, that they won't fire him because it'll be really good for the show, and because he heard that there are people on his side. Keem says that he wants to see the diagnosis on the portal, and he wants Muda to see it as well so he isn't the only one and it can be corroborated. And Boogie says he won't show Keem if he's gonna show Muda. Keem points out that Muda could be trusted and won't share it, and Boogie changes the excuse to he won't send it on the stream. Muda proceeds to bring up that his cousin just had her breast cancer come back a few days ago, and he and Boogie get into a screaming match. I'll be honest, I can't make out a lot of what's being said in this clip because it's a lot of yelling over each other. So here you go.
You want to know something? You want to know what pisses me off right now, Boogie? You want to know what really fucking drives
then
me
I
insane?
fucking breathe.
No, let me finish
fucking
it. You know
hate
what really?
everything I fucking
No.
do,
No.
Weird
It's not about
fucking hate
that. It's
boner
not about
for
that.
years.
It's not a hate boner. I'm just calling you out on bullshit. You know,
Okay.
literally a day ago, my cousin just had her breast cancer come back. Okay,
Well, that sucks.
metastasized, by the way. No.
Well,
Let me finish.
I didn't give her fucking cancer.
No. It's not that. This is how much
Oh, you're
cancer
gonna tweet
pisses
her
me
fucking
off.
Oh, I see
This
where you're
is
headed.
how
You're
much
gonna tweet her medical
cancer
records? You're gonna
lies.
tweet her medical
This
records
is
real
how
quick?
much cancer lies piss me off. When you are not willing to
And I'm
prove
not
that you have
lying.
this fucking
Did
cancer,
she prove
and I
it to
have
you?
to
Did
see
she
people
fucking- did
die,
she prove it to you?
people who are
My
on their
dad
deathbed far
my
younger
dad
than
drowned
you,
in his
yeah,
own
you should
fucking
be fired. You should be
My
removed
dad
off the
drowned in his
platform.
own
Hell,
fucking
you are the
blood.
worst
My
fucking
dad died
person
of
I have
fucking
ever seen
lung
on this
cancer.
platform.
I watched
You
my
are
fucking-
absolutely
I
one of
watched
the
my
worst people
best
I have ever
friend
seen,
of
dude.
fucking
God
30
damn.
years die
Jesus
of fucking
Christ.
breast cancer
Get
that's
the
spread
fuck
to
out.
your
I don't
brain.
believe anything that's happened in your
Boy,
fucking
I
past.
don't
You
give a
lying
fuck.
sack of
Hey,
shit,
my
bro.
fucking dad died
God
of black
damn.
lung that
Well,
led
whatever,
to fucking
dude.
lung cancer that killed
Yeah,
him.
I'm sure he did.
My
I'm
mom
sure he
held
did.
as he drowned in his
I'm sure,
fucking
bro.
blood. Died in
Boogie,
2000 fucking
I'm
one.
sure he did. You
Boogie,
can open up about
Stop,
everything
Boogie.
else
My
except
best
that.
friend,
Stop.
Danielle Mooney, died of fucking breast cancer.
And
Check
you
her
can
fucking
expose
Facebook.
everything about his life
I
except
talked to
there's
her 2
one
days
thing that
before
will
she
prove him wrong.
died. She died with a
He would
fucking
just
bruise
throw
ball
everything
right
that
in
was
her,
just
in her fucking
everything
head.
else in life.
And I would never lie about cancer.
Okay.
And it's
Yeah, you would never lie
disgusting.
about it. You
think
won't even
I
prove
would.
it.
It's fucking
Oh, I
And I'm
100%
not
believe
proving
you're not just
shit
lying
to you.
about this, but everything
You
else.
0% chance. I'm proving a goddamn thing to your dumb fucking ass.
Yelling,
I'd rather
yelling
fucking
isn't
die
proving
than let
anything.
you
Yeah,
piece of
Yelling
shit.
doesn't prove
let him
shit
out.
to me. Yelling doesn't prove
I'd
anything.
rather fucking go down. I would
Okay.
rather die of cancer with everyone think I'm fucking lying
Yeah,
than to
die
prove
of your
a
fairy
goddamn
fucking
thing
cancer,
to
sure.
your piece of shit manipulative
Mhm.
ass. Go
My
fuck
manipulative ass.
Go
I'm not the one
yourself.
getting manipulated, and he's the
Go
one
fuck
doing it
yourself.
and failing.
That
Rolling
blood
a
pressure will be
fucking
from the
critical
cancer.
failure.
Keem jumps in to stop the yelling and says he's starting a poll for the members to see if Boogie should be fired if he doesn't show his diagnosis. Boogie then tries to paint Muda in a shady light, saying Muda doesn't even think $10,000 is a lot of money, causing Muda to explain that he said that $10,000 isn't a lot of money to burn the trust of his community he's grown over all these years. Boogie then states he needed to do the crypto coin because his bank account was nearing zero, and he and Muda start arguing again about Boogie needing to get a job. Keem reiterates that he wants him and Muda to see the diagnosis, and when Boogie asks why Muda, Keem replies with, because he doesn't like you so people will believe him, and Boogie continues to deny to show it. Boogie starts getting really worked up, and Keem tells him to take a deep breath and calm down so he doesn't have a panic attack, and Boogie immediately replies with, it feels more like a heart attack.
title, nothing in the
Boogie,
thumbnail.
take a
said
moment.
anything.
Boogie, take a moment. Breathe. Calm down. You're having a fucking panic attack. I can see it on your
Oh,
face.
I am. Yeah, trust me. I'm
Yeah.
about.
Breathe.
It feels like a fucking heart attack if I'm being honest. But
you're not gonna have a heart
right
attack.
away.
Just chill out a little bit. Breathe in, breathe out. Just chill out.
It really feels like Boogie is trying to say anything to get them to stop questioning him because he knows he doesn't have the diagnosis. Keem then asks if Vera is on the portal, and Boogie says he doesn't know, causing Muda to bring up how the other day he said he was looking right at it. Boogie finally admits that polycythemia vera isn't on the portal.
I have plenty of things that I can send him. I can send him results of blood tests showing my fucking red blood cell high. We can probably get him the fucking
So
code.
Vera's not on there. Vera's not on the portal.
I don't know, man.
It's not.
I can send you a bunch of stuff.
You said 4 days ago you were looking at it. But you
4
weren't gonna
days ago you said you were looking at it.
Like
So
I
it's
told you,
it's
I
not
spent
on
the
there.
last. Like I told you, I spent the last 2 years getting treated for it. I've been told by my doctor for the last
It's
2 years.
fine,
this is
Boogie.
the case.
Just admit it's not on the portal.
It's not on there. I told you this.
Okay,
I told
thank
you I have
you.
to do the verifying
Thank
test.
you. All right.
I can send
You
you
don't have
blood
Vera on
tests.
the portal.
I can give you blood
Thank
test
you.
results.
If
And
you
here's
don't have polycythemia vera on the, you don't have it on the portal.
He doesn't have it on the portal. He tried
there's
to
other
look for
things.
it.
There are
and it's
other
not
things
on the
that are not
portal.
on the portal that we've talked about.
Okay.
And again,
There we
if I was,
go.
and again, if I was a
Mr.
liar,
Salt, you don't
again,
have
if
the
I-
cancer.
Boogie tries to defend himself by saying if he was a manipulator, he would have just faked a screenshot, and the fact he didn't makes him hope that people will see that he's just trying to be honest. But Boogie, not faking evidence doesn't make you a good, honest person, and the fact you lied about looking at the diagnosis and saying you have an official diagnosis when you don't makes you the exact opposite of honest. However, Keem does tell Boogie that he won't fire him since he came clean, and he forgives him even though it's a horrible thing. Wings brings up that Boogie could very well still have the cancer, but he's made them sit here for 9 hours to get to the conclusion they knew in hour 1. Boogie continues to scream that the diagnosis is only in the medical chart, saying he won't show them. Wings tells Boogie that he can't claim to have the diagnosis without taking the test to properly diagnose it. Again, Boogie tries to garner sympathy by saying that it really fucking sucks that they didn't put it in the portal, so he's getting called a liar by all of his favorite creators when he's not. Muda points out that Boogie lied by saying he had a diagnosis, and Boogie starts screaming that he's not lying because...
Oh, that's why it fucking sucks that I'm getting called by all of my favorite fucking creators a liar when I'm not fucking lying.
You
And it's
lied
not-
1.5 years ago about a diagnosis. That
No, I
now you
didn't,
just
because he
don't even see.
fucking told me. My doctor fucking told me I have cancer. God damn it! It's in my fucking medical charts. My brother's fucking seen it. Where's the fucking lie? My girlfriend sat there while he fucking said it. My brother's seen my medical charts. My friends have taken me to fucking visits where they took my fucking blood.
Keem tries to calm Boogie down, saying that it's fine and he probably does have the cancer, but just needs more tests. And Wings tells Boogie that the next steps are to get tested and to try to get an official diagnosis before talking about it again. Keem cuts him off, saying no, Boogie doesn't tell anyone about it until he has multiple doctors diagnosing it and it's on his portal. Boogie says that he won't show it even after that, which at this point would be the smartest thing to do. Boogie then claims that it doesn't matter if he has polycythemia vera or secondary because it still causes heart attacks and stroke, which he is already at very high risk for, so it'll kill him eventually anyways, and they need to find out what's causing it. Boogie begins looping back to the bone marrow test and colonoscopy, talking about trying to figure out what cancer he has, and Keem cuts him off, telling him that he's looping and tries to refocus him. Keem then tells him once he gets an actual diagnosis, he needs to show the internet to try to clear his name. Boogie tells Keem that he'll only share it with him. Muda brings up how Boogie lied about looking at the diagnosis in the previous stream, and Boogie admits that he lied because he was panicking with everybody confronting him. Boogie says that he swears on God or his life or whatever he needs to that he genuinely believed that he has cancer and wasn't trying to lie to anyone. Keem gets to final comments, and Muda goes full scorched earth with his take.
Guys, let's wrap it up. All right. We've solved the mystery. All right. Muta, go ahead with final statements.
I think Boogie's a complete liar, and I don't think he should be on this show. I think if you guys continue to pay him, you're supporting somebody that would blatantly lie about the most wild thing on the show. 100%. No, I feel like if you let Boogie on the show, you are supporting somebody that would blatantly lie about one of the most emotionally like destructive things in any society. That's where I'm at least. And it's not just me saying it. It's not just me saying it. I'm sure you can get the same opinion out of Charlie. You get the same opinion out of Coffee.
I can get the same opinion out of anyone.
And Keem only defends Boogie by saying it's lolcow live, but Muda points out that they could replace Boogie with any other lolcow and it'd be better since then one of the hosts wouldn't have lied about cancer. Keem says that it isn't a black and white situation because Boogie does likely still have the cancer. He just jumped the gun on announcing his diagnosis. Muda goes on to say that that just makes it seem like Boogie is waiting for something bad to happen to him so he can clickbait it, and Boogie is one of the worst people on the internet, which really pisses Boogie off, causing him to bring up Destiny again, causing Keem to kick both Boogie and Muda.
Your emotions, your manipulation, it flips on a dime. Doesn't work on me. I've dealt with tons of people like you in the past.
I have no memory.
I cut them out of my life. I call it where it is. If they have you on the show, you are 100% one of the worst people to be on the internet. These guys put their reputation on the line.
Yeah,
one of the worst. Lying about
that's
one of the worst.
out of your fucking mind. Destiny
One of the
is worse
worst.
than me. The person
One
that
of the
can
worst.
say this right now has
Was
defended
Destiny lying about
rapists.
cancer?
He's defended rapists. And I didn't lie. Here's the fucking thing. I
Okay,
still
sure,
have
here we go.
cancer.
It's another cyclical loop.
I
It's another
still
fucking
have
cyclical
cancer.
loop.
I
It is
still
another
have
cyclical
cancer.
loop.
I
It's
still
another-
have
He's
cancer.
just looping
Right?
again.
At the end of the
It is
day,
what it is.
the lie was it
If
wasn't
you
in
have
my
him on
portal,
here again,
but I
you
still
might as
have
well.
cancer.
You might as well
still
bring
have
another
cancer.
lolcow on.
But I
You
still
could
have
bring on
cancer.
any other
I
fucking
still
lolcow
have
on.
cancer. But I still have cancer. But I still have cancer.
Boogie, please stop.
1 minute. 1 minute. 1 minute. 1 minute. 1 minute. Okay, I had to get rid of them for a second.
Wink says he thinks Muda is being unfair because Boogie likely has the cancer even if he can't prove it, but says it doesn't make sense for his portal to not have the diagnosis if Boogie has it, given it's normally an automated system that updates the portal once the patient's files are updated. He proceeds to say that he believes Boogie is ready to nosedive the plane as soon as any issues with him arise and is ready to just give up his career, and brings up that if Boogie was honest from the beginning, they could work through it and they should still try. Keem tells Wings that he's in a really shitty spot because of the pressure to fire Boogie, and he doesn't want to do it, but it could destroy the show. The stream ends with the same song that the stream opened with, and the next stream will use as the beginning and end. But let's be honest, it's a banger.
You fat motherfucker.
Anyways, on to the next stream. Keem opens the next stream going back over the Boogie situation and saying he needs to run a poll to see where the audience sits on keeping or firing Boogie. Keem brings up that the show was specifically made to confront the lolcows on the dumb shit they do and say. It really feels like Keem knows he has to fire Boogie but doesn't want to because he sees it as this is what the show is here for. Keem goes on to reiterate that his theory was correct, that Boogie doesn't have the diagnosis but thought he did and rushed to make a video about it. It's then brought up that the pressure on Keem to fire Boogie is only getting worse as he talks to more people in his personal life about the situation. Keem then brings Boogie into the call to see if he's going to be accountable for what happened and apologize, or if he's going to come on and try and deflect again. Should also probably mention that a lot of the channel members were upset that the super chats weren't read in the last stream, so Keem decided that Boogie will read all the super chats throughout this stream. So if it seems like I'm jumping around a bit in this section, it's because I am. There's a lot of messages, and most of them are just people shitting on Boogie with nothing constructive. Boogie joins the call and immediately says he wants to do anything he can to make this right, and trying to farm sympathy by bringing up that his dad and childhood best friend both died of cancer.
Because this is not okay. Like I said last time, my dad died of lung cancer. My best friend, my childhood girlfriend, she died of breast cancer that turned into brain cancer. It's not something to jump the gun with, which is what I did, and it was a very stupid thing for me to do.
As you may notice, Boogie's background is completely changed. Well, that's because Boogie sent something to Keem and decided to take down the rest of his set when he sent it because he doesn't want to be reminded of the Boogie character, and we'll be talking about what said item is in just a couple minutes. Keem tells Boogie to act like this is the video 2 years ago and to tell the audience the truth about the diagnosis.
I think what's most important is I shut up, right? I sit here dead silent and act like this is the YouTube video 2 years ago, and this time the facts, the truth. I think the audience deserves to know, you know, kind of like what was really happening 2 years ago. What should that YouTube video look like?
I'll make it as short and sweet as I can. I have several doctors. We took my blood test. We found elevated red blood cell counts, and then we looked for other markers. We found those markers. They determined that it was certainly polycythemia, potentially polycythemia vera, and they were going to treat me as if it was polycythemia vera. And that's what we've done for the last 2 years, with the plan to always eventually get this bone marrow test. But again, I never wanted to get it done because it's stupid. It's painful.
He then goes on to explain that if it's not Vera causing the polycythemia, then they're going to start trying to pin down what's actually causing it, because polycythemia is a symptom and not a direct disease. Keem then gets Boogie to clarify that he could very well not have cancer and that something like his sleep apnea could be causing it. Boogie then reiterates how he wants to make things right with everyone and says he's saying St. Jude's a $1,000 donation, and Keem verifies the donation. But it really feels like Boogie is doing it only to try and gain brownie points to calm everyone down on bringing up his past shitty behavior. Keem then mentions that Boogie sent him the original 1 million subscriber play button, being the item previously mentioned, and that it's going to be auctioned off for a cancer research charity, and Boogie says he wants to go to St. Jude's. Boogie then says he wants to stream for the next month to raise money for St. Jude's, but he doesn't think people would trust him enough to donate, and let's be completely honest, I don't think anyone would be at blame for not believing that Boogie would donate the money after he faked his diagnosis. Keem even tells him that he's in no position to be asking anyone for any money.
Like I said, I'm trying to figure out what other ways to bend over backwards. If there's things I can sell, I'd like to maybe consider. I considered live streaming, you know, for the next month, every live stream I do, and try to do 3 a week and just raise money for St. Jude's, but I don't think people would trust me enough to give. And I don't blame them.
No, you shouldn't be asking the public for money for anything, even for charity.
Keem tells Boogie that he understands that he's got a lot of mental issues, but there's a lot of steps in making a video where Boogie could have just not posted it, and Boogie's response is that he posted it within 2 hours of finding out he has cancer, and that he was panicking and wanted sympathy for it. Keem then brings up that in a call, Boogie says he is actually hoping he has cancer when he gets the test results in, and Boogie confirms it by saying that he deserves the cancer at this point. This is going to be said quite a few times through the stream, and for the sake of not repeating myself 1,000 times, every time he brings that up, he gets shot down, saying that he shouldn't be hoping for cancer and that he's just trying to play the victim card and garner even more sympathy from everyone. Boogie then brings up that his cancer announcement video did make him $120, but that was out of his control since it was YouTube Premium members and that YouTube pays for the view and not the ads, trying to say he didn't make money off of his cancer. But Keem smacks him down, saying that Boogie absolutely financially benefited from the cancer, given he used it to get out of the crypto scam, and that just him bringing it up can cause people to buy his merch to support the cancer patient. Boogie goes on to repeat what I think is his favorite line, meaning that he's going to go down as the YouTuber who faked his cancer and died of the same cancer. Like, he keeps repeating it almost as if he actually wants that to be his legacy. Keem officially starts the poll on if Boogie should be fired and clarifies that it's not going to be the deciding factor, but it will help him come to a decision. Keem goes on to bring up that he's had conversations with other YouTubers who lost family to cancer, telling Keem that he has to fire Boogie because of how bad the situation is, and Boogie says he's had similar conversations with his friends and family. The poll then ends with 10,000 votes and 62% of the audience wanting Boogie fired. Keem then asks why Boogie didn't make a follow-up video saying that he may not have cancer and jumped the gun, and Boogie answers that he was living completely convinced that he had the cancer because he's always been a doomsayer. But being a doomsayer doesn't excuse him lying, saying that he 100% has cancer. Keem gives Boogie a chance to make a final statement, and Boogie proceeds to state that he completely understands if he gets fired because of the people he's hurt. He also points out that the show has been good for him and that he's grown, becoming less manipulative. Then, to give Keem time to make the decision, Boogie starts reading chats. While Boogie is getting to the super chats, Keem comes to the decision and fires Boogie, saying he knows he's not evil but just stupid, and that Keem doesn't want to fire him but he has to. However, he then mentions that he thinks Boogie should have a path back to the show, and one of the things he has to do is stop drinking Mountain Dew because of how unhealthy it is, and Boogie claims that's a decision he's already made. Keem clearly doesn't believe Boogie, and that if anyone online ever sees him drinking one, that he will never be let back on the show, especially with how unhealthy it is and Boogie's health already being in a really bad spot as is. Keem says everyone should have a path to redemption, but he needs to discuss it with Wings and Tommy first, then tells Boogie to read the super chats, and Boogie goes back to saying he hopes he has the cancer and that it's been really hard to live with what he's done. During the super chats, Destiny gets a hold of Keem, saying that he wants to talk to Boogie, and Boogie agrees but clearly isn't happy about it. Keem once again asks Boogie why he didn't just come out and tell everyone it might not be cancer once he found out, and Boogie claims that's because this would have happened, everyone canceling him and saying he's scripted off cancer. Boogie then goes back to repeating that his doctors tell him he has cancer, but that he hasn't gotten the test to confirm it because the treatment plan is the same either way. Keem then goes back to the Mountain Dew and saying that he is 1,000% serious that he'd never let Boogie back if he ever gets caught drinking it again. Destiny finally gets added to the stream and gets caught up on the situation so far. While Destiny is being caught up, Boogie cuts off Keem to say that his doctor okayed Mountain Dew, but is cutting it out because of all the carcinogens in it. Keem asks if Destiny thought this was how everything would end up when he came on the show before, and Destiny says that he was confused nobody in his hater community didn't already come out and bring up the inconsistencies. Destiny also mentions the only reason he doubted Boogie's story was because of the "it's cancer, you don't get better" line, and that's not the attitude you want to give cancer patients, which is absolutely true. Boogie again brings up that his dad and childhood best friend died of cancer, to say that in his experience, cancer tends to come back and will kill you. Destiny counters with the type of cancer and other factors in the patients determine if it'll come back, on top of not wanting to give cancer patients that kind of mindset anyways. Boogie brings up the bone marrow test, causing Destiny to ask why he's getting the biopsy and if his doctor recommended it. Boogie says that he's taking the test to confirm he has the polycythemia vera that he's been getting treated for over the last 2 years, and that his doctor says the test is unnecessary since he's going to be treated for it anyways. Destiny then asks about the hormones that Boogie was talking about having in his blood, and Boogie says he believes that it was JAK2 markers in his blood, causing Destiny to shoot him down by saying,
Okay. I don't know. Okay, just as quick, because I'm here, so I don't know what you want me to say or what I'm necessarily here for. So everything you just said was a lie. Okay, like the doctor is not doing a biopsy to confirm. Okay, that's not true. Okay, you can make a positive diagnosis of polycythemia vera if you have the JAK2 genetic markers, not a hormone. It's a genetic marker. But when you said that you had an elevation of a hormone, I don't think you were lying about that. I think you were being truthful. But what you didn't realize is the hormone that you were referring to is called erythropoietin, I think, or erythropoietin. But that hormone that's elevated is elevated because that's the hormone that's being produced that's telling your bone marrow to create more red blood cells because it's secondary polycythemia. You don't have JAK2. That wouldn't be a hormone. It wouldn't be a marker. It would be a gene test that you would do. You would know because you would pay specifically for genetic testing, and he would specifically test that gene. If you have that JAK2 marker plus an elevation in red blood cells, and you don't have an increased presence of that hormone in your blood, that would be enough to diagnose. You would never do a biopsy. You don't need to biopsy that.
Boogie says that he doesn't agree with what Destiny said, so Destiny points out that Boogie doesn't need the biopsy if he has the JAK2 genetic markers and had the increase in red blood cells, and that it's enough to diagnose cancer with that. Boogie tells Destiny that he understands this affected him personally, and he shoots it down, saying he won't accept an apology and there's no virtue to gain from it. Mudahar, who joined the call during Destiny's explanation, says that there has to be lines in the sand that can't be crossed, and lying about cancer is one of them, especially after Boogie said he has the cancer in his portal and was looking at it a few days ago and now says that it was never on the portal. And Boogie concedes that it was a stupid decision. When asked how Boogie can make it up to the community, Muda says that there needs to be a financial apology and pay back the money from the crypto scam. Boogie tells them about the $1,000 he donated to St. Jude's at the beginning of the stream, and Destiny congratulates him, saying that's 1/10 of what he scammed. In an attempt to look better and garner sympathy, Boogie tells Muda and Destiny that he sent his play button to Keem and that it's the model YouTube no longer makes. Then tries to get Destiny to verify his information so he doesn't accidentally lie. Destiny tells him that he's not going to verify for Boogie and that's on him to research. Then points out that he didn't accidentally lie, but did just flat out lie, saying that he had a diagnosis and that he was looking at it on his portal, both of which were lies, which leads to...
In the video, I was told by my doctor that I have polycythemia vera, and we're treating you for polycythemia vera.
He might have uttered those words, maybe. He might, I know, I'm sure he said polycythemia, maybe. And he might have even said polycythemia vera. He never told you that you had cancer, though.
That's fair. That's true. I had to Google that.
Okay, yes. Which is what we thought.
God.
That's what we thought in the beginning. He probably told you that you have an elevation, everything. You have polycythemia. You probably Googled that. You might have thought that he said vera. Maybe he fucked up and said vera, but he never said cancer. He never said cancer.
Polycythemia vera many times. Many times.
Oh my God. What just happened? What just happened? Your doctor did not tell you you had cancer?
So there we go. Boogie was never told he has cancer. He was told he might have polycythemia, Googled it, and made his video saying he has a diagnosis, just like Keem thought. Muda then points out how malicious it was for him to act like he has the diagnosis and claim to be looking at it while refusing to show it. And Boogie tries to hide behind Keem's earlier statement that he has mental illnesses, which Keem rejects by pointing out that even in Boogie's updated story, he was saying that the doctors told him that he has cancer, but he just admitted that wasn't even true. Boogie tries to argue that his doctor said he has polycythemia vera, but did not clarify that it was a form of cancer and that he had to look it up. Destiny shuts him down, saying that it would be incredibly unprofessional and irresponsible for a doctor to not clarify that, much less 3 doctors Boogie claims to have. He then brings up that Boogie's brothers said that he's willing to stake his reputation on the diagnosis, and Boogie claims that his brother saw the treatments for polycythemia vera, but when pressed on the treatments he's getting, he tells them that it's blood tests, blood thinners, a heart pill, and bloodletting, none of which are specifically cancer treatments. Destiny points that out and tells Boogie he's a horrible person, causing Boogie to start screaming about the Destiny drama that I will not be touching on today. Destiny tries to point out the cycle of Boogie's manipulation and lying, just for Boogie to cut him off screaming.
Very common manipulator tactic is to, when you get completely backed into a corner on something, you lie until you can no longer lie anymore. Then once you've been caught, then comes the victimization.
Well, then
you throw yourself under the bus. I did lie. It was so horrible. I'm so sorry. However,
knows the kind of person you are. So
however,
I don't need to say it anyway.
if you are,
Everybody watching this knows that you mocked
everybody
a
knows
fireman who exercised his political right. I don't need a fucking snitch.
And I'm exercising my political right. I can do that as well.
Yeah.
God bless. God bless America.
Then saying that he doesn't respect Destiny's opinion and keeps trying to deflect away from him faking a cancer diagnosis. Destiny has to have Keem act as a moderator since Boogie won't let anyone speak without screaming over them. Destiny then brings up that Boogie is only owning up to the things that he can't defend anymore, but won't take any real responsibility for anything. He then continues to bring up that Boogie's brother staked his career on Boogie's diagnosis, not that he was being treated for polycythemia, and called it a debilitating disease, but none of the treatments are for cancer and are likely for his list of actual diagnoses that we know of. Keem then had Boogie clarify his timeline of events again. Boogie claims he had a phone appointment with a sleep doctor who told him he has polycythemia vera. After the call, Boogie looked into the disease and saw cancer. Then he made his video and confirmed with his primary doctor after that polycythemia vera is a cancer. Destiny brings up that if that's the truth, then why has he been saying the diagnosis is not confirmed if he's had 2 doctors tell him that he has it? And Boogie says he never got the bone marrow test done, so he can't properly confirm the diagnosis, but he's still being treated for it since at the very least he has polycythemia secondary. Destiny asks Boogie what they're testing specifically for in his blood, and he says that they are testing his red blood cell count and trying to bring them down through lifestyle changes, and that it's been working since he's now to just above high. When Destiny tries to get more specific, Boogie just starts screaming that he doesn't want to be talking about his diagnosis anymore, and Destiny brings up that's clearly because Boogie is lying. That pisses off Boogie, and he starts screaming that he isn't lying or saying he's dying of cancer, and Keem cuts him off, telling Boogie that he's done that for the last 2 years. Boogie goes back to yelling about his other diagnoses and saying that that's what's going to kill him, given he's...
I haven't been out here saying I'm dying in the next year.
Repeating
like
the same shit,
No,
dude.
you
Holy
have been
shit.
saying you're dying. You have been saying
Yeah,
you're dying.
you were on
Hold on, wait,
Lolita.
wait,
You were
wait.
like, I'm fighting.
Everything that he's just said, all of these, again, it's because you're lying. So, firstly,
Let me finish. Outside of this cancer, do you not understand I'm extremely unhealthy? Do you not understand that my heart is fucking enlarged after keeping an adult obese man alive for 50 years?
Yeah,
do you
but
not
you're
understand
saying that cancer is going to kill you.
Let me fucking finish. Do you not understand that I have venous insufficiency in my legs? Do you not understand that I have the beginning stages of congestive heart failures and my hand and my feet are beginning to swell because my heart is giving the fuck out? And the polycythemia vera is one of the reasons that's happening. And I keep telling Keemstar, at the rate I'm going right now, I'm in a very dangerous fucking place. I'm a 400-pound, 50-year-old man. That's goddamn rare. That's goddamn rare. And I'm extremely fucking sick, including the polycythemia vera. All of my problems have to do with my dying heart.
Destiny then brings up if it is polycythemia vera, why are lifestyle changes helping bring down the red blood cell count when that's wouldn't be the case if it was being caused by cancer and not outside factors, causing Boogie to start yelling that's all that can be done for Vera unless it turns into leukemia. Keem jumps in to tell him that the only way to sell the situation is just to show the diagnosis. Boogie goes back to repeating he'll never show it. After a little more pressure, they're able to get Boogie to agree to send Keem something that he has his doctor write up, then immediately rescinds the offer when he gets told that Keem wants Muda to see it as well. Boogie tells Keem that he'd rather Destiny see it over Muda, causing Muda to point out that Boogie respects him more as a person, but Destiny more for the diagnosis. Boogie gets thrown into a side tangent about Desi because Destiny makes a joke about her being young.
Because you can't trust anything he shows you. Because remember, Boogie literally not only did Boogie.
Why wouldn't that be why wouldn't that be a paid actor then? Right?
Boogie literally said. That's a good point, actually. Maybe you should actually get like a copy of his medical license too, or visit him at the hospital. Boogie said that he was looking at a piece of paper. It says it on this piece of paper. That was the lie number one.
Yep.
He called in his girlfriend, okay, or the child he's abducted. Okay, he brought her in and he said, "Look, okay, polycythemia vera, right?" And he had her confirm it. And then he had his brother. And then he had his brother send it in, and his brother confirm it. So there's no way that you can trust anything he says.
Fuck you. Listen to me, you piece of shit.
Boogie.
You refer to my 21-year-old girlfriend as a child again? Fuck you. She's a fucking adult. Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself.
This causes Boogie to mention that she has heard the doctor say cancer, even though he previously said that the doctor never told him it was cancer. This man's story changes so much that I can't even keep track of it anymore. One second he's saying he 100% has the cancer and is looking at the diagnosis, then that it was never in the portal. Claims the doctor said that it was cancer, then he claims the doctor never said it was cancer. Like, could we ever believe anything that comes out of this man's mouth? Everything he says is a fucking lie. After they talk about Boogie's doctors for a minute, where nothing really important gets said, Keem asks if Destiny thinks Boogie could still have the cancer. He replies that he thinks Boogie could very well still have polycythemia vera, that it would just be out of sheer luck and stupidity with how much he's fucked up in the story. Destiny brings up the testosterone Boogie was taking, and Boogie cuts him off, saying that they had quit it for a year and there was no significant change in his blood cell elevation, so he got put back on it since the numbers didn't change enough. When his sleep apnea is brought up, he says his sleep doctor tells him he probably doesn't even need the CPAP machine anymore, but that he's going to keep using it just in case. Keem brings up that a couple years ago, Boogie was constantly talking about wanting to unalive himself and talked about a lot of ideas around the topic, but was going to the doctors constantly and trying to take care of his health. Boogie says that it wasn't that he wanted to die as much as he just wanted the pain to stop, and that the people who actually do want to just do it which is not only incredibly insensitive, but objectively wrong. Boogie would then go on to say that he's so proud he didn't unalive himself, and that everyone should stick it out trying to virtue signal, and he gets shut down by Destiny. He then goes on to say that he doesn't think Boogie ever wanted to unalive himself, and that he's far too narcissistic to do it, and would rather watch the world burn before hurting himself, causing Boogie to yell that him eating is self-harm.
You'd let the world burn to ashes around you before you even considered hurting yourself any more than that was too mean. But no, yeah, like Jesus.
Hey, I don't self-harm. I don't self-harm.
Whoa.
Okay, well that was what my joke was going to be. I was saying any more than stuffing your mouth full with a cheeseburger. Like that's what I was going to say. But yeah, if you want to say, yeah.
It is self-harm, motherfucker. That's why people like to do it. It is a form of self-harm, motherfucker. That's why we do it. If you see a 400-pound man, if you see a 400-pound woman, guess what? They do it because they're self-harming, because there's something wrong in their fucking brains.
Destiny says he doesn't understand that at all, and if he just wanted to hurt himself, he just get a razor instead of a soda, which obviously isn't a good thing to say to anyone, especially if they have a history with it, but I do kind of understand what his point is. Boogie starts yelling that Destiny wants people to cut themselves, then runs off screen to grab a butter knife, yelling that he's going to do it for Destiny. Keem then kicks everyone from the call and ends the stream. So obviously that was a dramatic ending to the stream, but let's be honest, Boogie wasn't going to do anything, especially with that butter knife he grabbed. But we can't blame Keem for ending the stream. So let's move on to the next one. It'll be a shorter one in here because a lot of the next stream has to do with the different drama Boogie is caught up in at the moment, and I'm not touching on it. Keem starts the next stream with a quick recap on everything and showing that he now has Boogie's play button. He then tells chat that he bought out Boogie's shares of Locale Live, and Wings thinks it should have been a group purchase so that it'll be evenly split between Keem, Wings, and Tommy. Keem goes on to explain that Boogie needs 70% of the audience to want him back before Keem will even consider bringing him back. However, Keem brings up that he is still conflicted on having to fire Boogie because the show is supposed to be a place for Boogie to fuck up and get called out. Keem brings up that he's been thinking of punishments to let Boogie back on this show, and that he's thought of a few really good ones. Keem and Wings both go on to bring up that this was never how it was supposed to happen, and that Destiny was brought on to give Boogie an easy W because all he needed to do was show his diagnosis, which Boogie ended up not even having. After talking about the previously mentioned situation we won't be speaking on today, they get Boogie on because Keem can't wait to give him his punishment. Once Boogie is on the show and after a Boogie freak out, Keem asks how all the tests to diagnose the cancer are going, and Boogie reveals that he's cancered all of them.
Is there any updates on your side with the cancer and all that? You were going to get some paperwork together. What's going on with that? Can you talk calmly?
I've canceled every test. I'm done. I'm done. I don't have the money to fight it. I have no desire to fight it. I'm looking forward to dying, so I'm just done. I'm never going to get this bone marrow test done.
Boogie also claims that even if he got the diagnosis and proof that Destiny wouldn't believe him unless he could talk to the doctor personally. One of the previously mentioned punishments is now revealed, being that Keem has banned Boogie from the internet until further notice, and only got revealed because Boogie was having a breakdown about not being able to make money and post on YouTube. Keem explains that these punishments are him trying to make the situation where the internet would welcome Boogie back even if they don't completely forgive him. Boogie claims that he doesn't care about a way back to the internet and that he just wants to stop being in pain all the time and keeps asking why Keem is doing this to him. Wings and Keem point out that they haven't done anything to Boogie and that everything Boogie has been dealing with are the consequences of his own actions. Keem also states that he bought out Boogie's shares and told him that there's a road back that will give him his shares and spot of the show back because he doesn't want to do to Boogie what PKA did to Wings and just cut him out and never offer him redemption. Keem announces Boogie will be coming on this show for his punishment, and Boogie reminds everyone that he's no longer being paid, so he's doing it with no financial incentive. Keem ran a poll to see if people would let Boogie back, and it's already hit 50-50 within moments, and Keem points that out, saying people are already starting to be willing to have him back on the show. Keem then tells Boogie that the big punishment is to get liar tattooed on his face, and Boogie's reaction is to immediately call a tattoo shop and try to set up the appointment right then.
In order for you to come back on this show, where I would be okay with it and feel like you're actually sorry, and the audience would feel like you're actually sorry, I think that you should do something to acknowledge these lies and these manipulations for the years. I think that you should live stream on this show you going to a tattoo artist and getting a face tattoo of liar on your face. And I'm so serious.
Okay.
You're willing to do that?
I don't care. I'll do whatever you tell me to do, man. If that's what you're telling me to do, I'll go do it. Today, I'll look up tattoo places right now.
Keem and Wings are shocked that Boogie isn't freaking out and tells him to seriously think about the decision before going through with it, and Boogie just keeps repeating that he doesn't care about tattooing his face. Mudahart gets added to the call, and when told what's going on, he tells Boogie to go get some professional help because he's clearly not stable if he's going to tattoo liar to his face, then immediately suggests the tattoo be in Comic Sans if he does go through with it. Boogie, in less than a second, says that anything Muda suggests will not be used because he can't stand him. Keem defends Muda, saying that he isn't a bad guy and that he's just calling Boogie out on his lies and bullshit. Boogie replies with,
"And he did that because he wants to see you succeed."
Good. It doesn't, like, listen, Curry didn't do anything to me. Fucking Hot Chips didn't do anything to me. I just don't like them. It's okay if I don't like something. Sometimes you just don't like somebody, and that's okay.
You just don't like me because I'm fucking looking through you like X-ray.
There's a lot of other.
Why did you
people.
mention Curry?
Boogie then goes on to state that he's sure Muda is a good person, but Boogie just doesn't like him. Muda then asks what the next step is and if Boogie's going to get his shit together, and Boogie just says probably not. This leaves Keem asking why, since he's at a great spot to restart and rebuild himself, honestly, this time. Boogie asks how he could, given he's going to literally be labeled a liar, so he won't be able to get a real job. Keem, Muda, and Wings all bring up that that was never an option, since him faking cancer came out would ruin that chance alone, and tells him to stop trying to manipulate everyone into feeling bad for him. Muda then asks Boogie why he hasn't been streaming or posting regularly, causing Boogie to point the finger at Keem, saying that he won't let me. But Muda shoots that down by saying that Boogie wasn't posting anyways before Keem banned him from the internet, and Boogie can't give a good answer why. After getting Boogie in trouble with Desi for bringing up her family on the show, Muda tells Boogie that Keem is right and he should just reveal all the skeletons in his closet so there's nothing left for him to get cancelled over from here on out. Boogie agrees and claims that the cops now call him before coming because of how often they get called to his house, and that he suspects Keem of having someone hack his Twitter, which Keem shoots down, telling Boogie that that's a felony and he wouldn't risk his career over that. Boogie confesses that he thought he was bipolar, then his therapist changed their mind and Boogie announced it and never cleared the air, showing obvious similarities to his cancer diagnosis that doesn't exist. Boogie mentions that him and Desi are planning to move to Branston, and when Muda asks for the plan, Boogie explains that he wants to sell his house and move to just outside Branston onto property with extra land so they could raise chickens because Desi has always wanted to. Everyone laughs, saying that there's no way he's actually going through with it, and points out that he can't even take care of the lawn he already has. How is he going to be able to take care of a property that he wants to buy? Keem tells Boogie that he needs to change his attitude, get motivated for the future, take his punishment, and get back on this show. Boogie, obviously somberly, says that he can't wait for his bright future. Boogie would then tell Muda that he doesn't hate him while he's getting called out for feeding off sympathy. Keem would then call out Boogie, saying that he's told him multiple times that he hates Muda in private and on the show, and points out that Boogie is trying to manipulate again, and that he just needs to be real and tell Muda that he hates him.
Your whole life is just literally, you feed off of making people feel so fucking bad for you.
I know.
Okay.
This is why you fucking hate me, because I just never feel bad for you. Every time I hear you bitch about life, you're a 50-year-old fucking man that doesn't give shit.
I would like to make it clear, I don't have any hate in my heart for you at all. I just don't like
bullshit.
it.
That's another fucking lie. That's another fucking lie.
I don't hate
him. Oh my god,
bro! You say
I'm pretty certain I said I don't like him.
You're manipulating him right now.
No,
right
I
now.
told
You
him
just
in this live stream.
No.
You hate him. I said
you say over and over again. No, you're manipulating him. You're manipulating him. You're manipulating him. You're manipulating him.
I said I don't like hot chips and I don't like him.
No.
I said I don't like hot chips and I don't like him.
You said you hate him.
I said that.
You said you hate him. Oh my god,
you're leaving out.
Run a poll. What do you guys remember? Do you remember me saying I hate him, or that I don't like him because I don't like hot chips? I don't like hot chips and I don't like curry, which I guess was right.
Before that, you said you hate him.
Jesus.
You
I
said
don't
on
need
this
a
show,
Buddha.
wait, time out, everyone. But multiple times in this show, you said you hate Muta. You have. Okay, so I don't want to hear about fucking Curry because that was a little while ago when you were mixing it up. You hate him. You say you hate him. You tell me in private you hate him. I fucking hate Muta. You hate him. So now you're saying I don't have a hate bone in my body for fucking Muta. Right? That's manipulation. You're trying to manipulate him right now. Stop doing that. Be real. Tell him you fucking hate his guts. Tell him you hate his guts. You do. So tell him that and be real. This is why I'm saying. This is why I'm saying this. It's time to fucking revamp it. Be the real Stephen Williams. Be the real Stephen Williams. Be the real Stephen Williams. I hate you, Muta. I fucking hate you. You're a piece of shit. That's the real Stephen Williams.
Oh, I need to hear.
After a bit of them talking, Medicare gets brought in to discuss the separate situation. Before they start talking about that, though, Medicare talks to Boogie about his cancer. After essentially a recap on the situation, Medicare gets Boogie to admit that he never got a diagnosis and that there was signs of it in his blood that the doctors saw, which is another news story and not a fucking diagnosis like Boogie has been claiming for the last 2 years. After they talk about the other situation for a while, Keem brings it back to the cancer, saying that he wants to see Boogie have fire tattooed across his face and asks if Boogie will do it. Boogie dodges the question by asking what's happening with the gold play button and asking if there's still going to be a donation to St. Jude. Keem confirms that whoever gets the play button will donate to St. Jude, but points out that Boogie clearly wants the story to be that he gave up his play button for a cancer charity so he can get some goodwill from the audience. Muta goes on to ask if Boogie would be willing to match the donation to St. Jude's. Boogie says that he only has $3 in his bank account, so he wouldn't be able to afford it, and Muta tells Boogie that if he donates the $3,000, he'll match it. Keem adds to the offer, saying that if he does do the donation, he'll send back the play button to Boogie. So, in order to get his play button back, Boogie donates $3,025 to St. Jude's, and Muta matches the donation. It's brought up that Boogie donated via PayPal, and Wings, to play devil's advocate, points out that you can charge back on PayPal super easily, causing Muta to make a joke that you can instantly see Boogie gets pressed by.
I think it was fucking dumb to donate the $3,000, especially since his healthcare.
He never donated.
How you know he doesn't donate?
Because he's not showing his bank statement.
I just showed it. It was on PayPal, motherfucker, and I showed it on PayPal, and PayPal's gonna process it through my bank in the morning. But it's already gone. PayPal showed it. I sent it. I showed him PayPal.
Can I send it to Muta? Can I send the screenshot to Muta? Okay.
Okay, I can play devil's advocate here. You can charge PayPal back pretty easily.
That's what I'm saying. Those kids are only getting $3,000.
Oh shit.
And very quickly after that, we get a clip that triggered me enough to start making this video, even if it was initially seen out of context.
The good news is I'm getting my play button back, and charity got helped, so that's all that matters.
Yep. All right, so I'm gonna leave it at that. All right, Boogie.
Wait, if I donate a little bit more, do I get the play button? We matched.
If I get my $3,000 back, sure.
You take money back from dying kids?
No, I mean, Muta Hart would also have to give me my $3,000 back.
Somebody clip that.
Yeah, Muta Hart.
Oh my fucking god!
And you know what? Even with the context of the rest of the stream, this clip still pisses me off. Like, Boogie, for the last 2 years, you've been grifting off of the cancer diagnosis you didn't have and beg for money using your cancer. Maybe you deserve to send that money whether or not you get the play button back. Nobody forced you to make a video saying you had cancer. At any moment before now, you could have come out and just told the truth that you were premature with the announcement and that it could be something else and that you don't know until you get the proper tests done. Yeah, you will have gotten shit for it, but nowhere near the amount you are getting now. Nobody would feel bad if Keem didn't send you back the play button now. So, moving on. Keem ends the stream after the clip, and that means we'll be going on to the next stream, and it's a big moment for Locale Live because it's the stream where Boogie gets tattooed. Keem opens the next stream with an updated version of the AI song about the Boogie situation. He then goes on to recap everything that's happened again and explains that he's being called a psychopath for asking Boogie to tattoo liar on his face. So Keem calls out Tommy and asks for an opinion on the face tattoo, and Tommy brings up that it feels similar to the bump fights incident, where a homeless man was paid to get bump fights tattooed across his forehead and the creator was dragged on mainstream media for it. This gets Keem to agree that it may be too far and calls Boogie to tell him not to get the tattoo. Now, you think Boogie would take this out to avoid getting the tattoo, but when told he doesn't have to get the tattoo, he reportedly started screaming that he's going to get the tattoo and that Keem can't take this away from him. So Keem announces that Boogie will be getting the tattoo, but that he's backed off and thinks it's a bad idea. Keem then calls Wings and Boogie to get them on the show. Once Wings is on, he brings up that between Boogie donating the last of his money to get his play button back and being excited to get the tattoo, he's worried that Boogie is just going crazy at this point. Immediately after, Boogie gets added to the call, and he's sat in a tattoo shop ready to get the tattoo. He explains he's anxious about the tattoo and goes on to explain that after this tattoo, he's done with the punishments and everything is over, but agrees to continue reading the super chats for Keem. Boogie asks Keem to run a poll on where the tattoo should be, either his face or his hand, so he always has to see it. While the poll is going, Boogie reveals that the tattoo will be in Comic Sans since that's what Mudahar suggested, and Boogie feels that he deserves to be a part of this. Keem reiterates that he doesn't approve of this while dying of laughter, and Boogie correctly points out that Keem definitely thinks it's funny. And to Boogie's credit, he does agree that the tattoo is funny and that it's degrading as hell. He deserves the tattoo and it'll allow him to forgive himself. When people in chat ask why Keem is making Boogie do this, Boogie defends him, saying that he's not being forced to get the tattoo and he genuinely wants to get it to try and make everything up to the audience. Surprisingly, we're getting a lot of responsibility from Boogie on this, and I do feel like we have to give him props on that. I have to respect that he's finally taking accountability for his fake diagnosis and is even taking a punishment as extreme as this one is. When asked if Keem would tear up the previously mentioned contract for Boogie's shares of the show if he gets the tattoo, Keem says that he's willing to, but the audience still has to be at 70% wanting Boogie back on the show. Wings then announces the poll results are almost at 70% wanting the tattoo on Boogie's face. Boogie now reveals that the tattoo is going on his right cheek and the top of his beard, and that a couple years down the road he may get it removed. They eventually agree that Boogie has to keep the tattoo for as long as he lied about his cancer before he can get it removed. Before the tattoo gets started, the owner of the shop is having Boogie sign a paper saying that he's mentally stable and won't sue her for it. It's also revealed that viewers are calling all the tattoo shops near Boogie looking for the shop doing his tattoo, and they have to announce on stream that people need to stop, otherwise they're going to ruin this for the show. When asked if Wings would get the face tattoo in this situation, he says he wouldn't purely because he's still at a point in his life where he could go on and try to get a real job, and having liar tattooed on your face makes it nearly impossible to get a real job. Boogie says that he's getting texts telling him to not get the tattoo and says that it's already decided and a done deal. He's getting the tattoo. After the stencil is put on, Wings, Keem, and Chat all start telling Boogie that's too small and he needs to double it before they can get started. And Boogie asks for it to be made bigger. Boogie starts talking about how nervous he is to get the tattoo after seeing the new size. And then the tattoo starts. Keem starts narrating the tattoo like it's a Nat Geo doc on deer or some shit, and Boogie requests breaks between each layer since his anxiety is spiking with someone touching his face. In order to calm Boogie's nerves, Keem starts talking to him like a kid, and it's probably the funniest bit out of this whole situation.
Come on, Keemstar, call me your little man.
Come on, little boy, you're doing good, little man. You got this.
You like that, little man?
You got this, champ. Aw, you're such a good boy. Remember last time when you cried with the needle? This time you're taking it so good.
I love you, Daddy.
Don't call me
that. They are done.
And once the tattoo is finished, Keem announces to the world,
and we have 24,000 concurrent viewers. Boogie gets liar tattooed to his face after faking cancer.
I'm so glad we decided to go bigger. It is so much nicer looking.
Yeah, it looks good. It actually looks good.
Boogie then says that he's done with the punishments besides reading the super chats, and Wings tells him that he needs to make a video tomorrow morning with his thoughts on the tattoo after a day of having it. Boogie agrees and then leaves the stream to head home. Keem starts the final poll on if Boogie can come back to the show and encourages everyone to allow him back since he clearly feels bad and was willing to tattoo liar on his face. He then mentions that he wants to get other creators on the call and proceeds to get Kid behind the camera, or Mike as we'll be referring to him, on the call. Mike gets on the call and calls Keem a sociopath, saying he didn't believe that this was real and was actually just a big joke, but also says that he was in the chat saying that the tattoo needed to be bigger. While chatting about the situation, Keem reveals that the tattoo wasn't his idea, but was in fact Colossal is Crazy's.
Did Clown just tweet? I think Clown might actually be on. The liar face tattoo idea I gave to Keemstar has happened. Yes. Oh, let me give Clown some credit. Clown told me a list of things that should be the punishments. So Clown originally gave me the idea of the liar face tattoo. I'm sorry. Clown, you need to get your credit on that.
Keem then sees that Boogie posted on Twitter before Keem lifted the ban and says he'll let it slide, but he really doesn't like it. So Keem calls Boogie to troll him, saying that he's fired for posting, but isn't able to keep his shit together through the call.
Hey, do you have a rough idea how long it will take you to get home? He'll be home in 25 minutes, people. All right.
Oh, okay.
Boogie.
You weren't that far out then.
Boogie, I got you on speaker right now.
Yes, sir. Hi, everybody.
So listen, I hate to break the news to you like this, but we can't have you back on the show because you broke your rules and you posted to Twitter.
What? I thought we were done. I thought I was allowed to post to Twitter now.
I know, but it had to be official, right? Like,
I thought it was official. I have a face tattoo.
I know, but if you went to a court of law.
Dude, I'll delete it. I'll delete it right now. No, listen, man. We were done. I told you when this face tattoo's on me, we're done.
Okay, well, you can keep it up. You can keep it up for now.
I just deleted it.
Okay, we'll see you when you get back.
I'm back on the show, son.
You're. I couldn't even keep a straight face.
Boogie rejoins the call after a while and he says that he feels pretty good, but when he stopped in a drive-thru, the workers absolutely noticed the tattoo immediately. Wings proceeds to pitch a video idea of Boogie going around and just filming reactions to the tattoo. Boogie then goes on to claim that the tattoo wasn't to win back his audience, but that he deserves the tattoo and he can now forgive himself for lying about the cancer. Keem then lifts Boogie's social media ban, allowing Boogie to post on YouTube and Twitter again. Wings brings back up that sometimes when you get tattooed somewhere where there's hair, the hair won't ever grow back. Boogie claims if that happens, he's just going to have to be clean shaven forever, even after getting it removed in 2 years. Keem officially tears up the contract, giving him back his shares of the show and bringing him back on as a host. He then tells Boogie that he will give him back his play button once Boogie hits under 300 pounds. Keem then has to address the chat because the poll to let Boogie back never actually hit 70%. But Keem defends Boogie, saying that he has to let him back after getting a tattoo on his face that says liar. Boogie then reveals the tattoo is more than likely permanent because Desi thinks it's hot, and he starts reading the super chats until the end of the stream. And that's just about it. There was another stream and Boogie's video on his channel, but there wasn't really anything new that came out of them, so I'm not going to break them down like I did with the rest of the streams. The video on Boogie's channel is just his standard complaining about the tattoo, saying how much he hates it and that he understands why he needed to get the tattoo and be punished. And the stream is just them looking at memes about the Boogie situation and talking about any subject that comes to mind. So at the end of the day, what did we learn? Well, maybe you shouldn't lie about having a fucking cancer diagnosis. I mean, Boogie could have avoided all of this if he either waited to make his video until he got 100% confirmation on the diagnosis, or once he did find out the truth, just clarify that he wasn't properly diagnosed and he may not actually have the cancer. Like, Boogie had 2 years to come clean and didn't until he couldn't defend himself anymore and was backed into a corner and allowed his career to just implode. Well, damn, you made it to the end. I hope y'all enjoyed, and I am planning on making more videos, not necessarily just like in the YouTube sphere of things, but you know, movies, games, whatever I happen to be hyper fixated on for the week. So have a good one, y'all, and I'll catch you next time.